Right, welcome back to some more Warno. Today we've got ourselves a ranked game between myself and Doomhammer. I'm playing as 5th Panzer, he's playing as 1st Armoured Division. I'll be looking at this from my perspective, kind of going over what I was thinking and what my game plan was during this match, and we're kind of breaking those things down. So first of all, we'll go over our deployment. So on this left hand side we've got a couple Alpha Clara here, and I don't think I've given both of these orders. No, I haven't. So, my first mistake. Not giving my recon orders. We can show you where everything else is going. So, the Sicherungs, you can see here, heading towards the centre. So, two of those guys just heading towards the centre, and they're there just to kind of lock it down, and then they've got a Jaeger with them as well, to give me some AT capability. Behind that, we've got another Jaeger unit. I think actually all of them are heading up there. We've got the CV moving into Cap, Foxtrot here, and then moving to Charlie. Behind those, got Sicherungs and a Jaeger. These guys are heading up to these woods here. And it's very important on this map to keep hold of this triangle, otherwise it can cut off your main reinforcement road. So I want a solid position in these trees so I can just probe up here and make sure I can hold this. Behind that we have a Leopard 2A3. Just deploying conservatively at the moment. I haven't got too many elements to protect it, so it's best off kind of keeping it back here, and then I can move it to where I need to and keep it safe. And then backing that up, we've got a Roland 2 and a Gepard staying close to the Leopard 2A3. I don't want to push them too aggressively and get them picked off, so I'm being conservative, and then I can move them up when I need them. On this right hand side, I haven't forgotten to move my recon. I've got one Alpha Clara going to the church to get some good vision. I've got a Lux pushing up this left hand side here, and then one which is going to be pushing around on the right, just to kind of probe what's happening. And then 4 units coming behind. I've got a Pioneer Flam, Fliegerfaust and a Jaeger. These guys are all pushing up to here, and a supply Unimog as well, just to support those. And then finally the CV, which is going to push into Delta across and then back up to Golf, and it's going to hang around in Golf, and it's going to decide where it's going to go after that. So that's the deployment. Yeah, there we go, finally get our recon going. One's heading up just to get vision along this road, and kind of across here as well, and then one heading to the centre, so I've got some vision across the central zone. So, when we're looking at this map, there's a few things we kind of want to be taking into mind. We've got to understand that our opponent's division and what its capabilities are. First does get some forward deployment, so they can push aggressively for Delta, for the edge of the town, which is why I have got a Jaeger and a Pioneer Flame here. I'm not too concerned about it, but it is a possibility, so I haven't just put a tiny force there. And more importantly, this triangle, as I mentioned earlier, is really important because my reinforcement road is so vulnerable to all these tree lines and cover areas here. It could be a real issue for me. So I start spotting Gazelle rockets and other helicopters. Some even right here. I'm like, okay, that's an issue. Toes start, Milan's toes. Got the Lynx Helarm here, Gazelle rocket there. I believe this is a P4 Milan, so I am trying to manage all of my units so I don't lose any to any of these ATGMs. There's a fair amount of helicopters here, and this is a bit problematic, so I get everyone unloaded. I am taking some damage, but the Gazelle rockets don't have too much ammunition. I pull the Leopard 2A3 back. I don't want this getting hit by these Lynxes and the Milan there. And then I'm pushing up my AA to kind of deal with it. All of these units are pretty cheap, so I don't mind them just tanking rounds. Grabbing 2 Alpha Jets, and these guys are going to come in and they're just going to strafe the helicopters, and that's their job, to deal with the early helis. You can see Gep and Roland 2 did take out one of those Lynx Helarms. Some Terrier's Parrot, and then this one I start just shoving up the Leopard 203. I've got the space now to maneuver and go through. Alpha Jets are coming in, and yeah, they're going to be hunting down those helis. Obviously, Link's Helm's only 55 points, but it's good to take it out. So it's a strong anti-tank capability. Also managed to hit that Spartan there, destroy that. He's got significant AA there. So I tried to stay away from that, but I do take hits on both my Alpha Jets, which is not good. So I'm going to evac this one away, and then this one gets forced evac by a man-pad just over there. But the amount of firepower I've got, I managed to take out that Terrier's Para with the Carl Staff, and we're just pushing up into the centre slowly. Obviously Doomhammer's had this +1 because he's in control of the centre. He hasn't capped Alpha, which is a bit odd for the moment, and then finally does there. So he's up to a +3, but I finally get to the centre there, and we're equalised. So looking elsewhere, no push on this right-hand town, so I push out my Jaegers a bit. Lux is in a decent position for the moment, but I don't want to be overly aggressive with it. Fuchs Milan pushes out to the right, so it can use the ATGM on the open ground. And then I've got one Lux round the back here, which is just waiting for the moment. It's a really solid position for me to have. Got some more Fliegerfaust to come in to extend my AA network. I don't want to bring up big AA units here like a Roland or a Gepard, because this is a risky zone and he could attack it and I don't want to lose those. So instead, pushing up the Fliegerfaust is perfect for this location, and then Jaeger and Sicherungs securing the woods, and then Recon, so I can have some vision on what's going on over here. Down in the centre, splitting off my forces to cover off the woods. Jaeger over to the left, Sicherungs and Jaeger onto the right, because I really want to secure this tree line. Some more Fliegerfaust have come in. I don't want to be plagued too much by the Gazelles. And then here, I've got my Leopard 203 and my Gepard, which are just sitting in the woods. I don't want them sitting on the edges, so they're exposed to fire. So by sitting them in the woods here, I can push them up to when I need them, and not expose them to all the incoming fire, and not give my opponent the intelligence that they're there, and so he's going to plan to deal with them. I'd rather it be a kind of a surprise. And so we're just slowly building our forces up. We see a Chieftain Mark 11 coming in, ATGM firing from the buildings here. Do unload my Sicherungs in time, but I lose the truck. So the Chieftain starts engaging these units over here, and I should just push them back over into the trees so they don't get seen. I think I do that in a moment. But you see, what's happened here is he has given away that he's got a Chieftain. And so I'm planning and figuring out how I'm going to deal with this. And so I see it coming over this way. I bring my Leopard up to here. So it's not really exposed, but if that Chieftain pushes further forwards, this Leopard's going to get a side shot on it. Got another Alpha Jet coming in, and I spot the tracked Rapier as well. The tracked Rapier is the more valuable target. I was looking at taking out the HGM, but I switch over. Take that out. I do lose it, unfortunately. But taking out the AA, especially against first armoured, is pretty important. You can start to air bully them if they lose all of their AA. Got some supply coming in, so I can get my Alpha Clara up to full health and being a bit more aggressive with that. But you see again, pushing the Chieftains across the open. I can see what's going on, I know he's got that. And I don't think he can actually see that I've got this Leopard 2A3 here. And I just slowly make my ground over this side. Gazelle Rocket is causing issues. We've got some more Jaegers coming in. I'm just going to slowly fill up here, and oh, there you go, you see? Leopard 2A3 managed to get the side shot on that Chieftain, and it got the bailed out on the first round. But that's what happens if you kind of moving your units across in the open here. You've got to expect that there's something that's going to fire. And then I just pull my Leopard 2A3 back straight away. My opponent's invested in some artillery, so I've pinged that, so I know the location. I can counter battery if I want to, but I've just kind of got to be careful that I don't kind of clump up my units too much. So on this left side, an ATGM opening fire on our reinforcement road, and you can see, even getting into this position here, they've got a view on this section of the road. So this is something I need to deal with. See all these forces pushing forwards, going into the woods. Another Chieftain Mark 11, we've got Warrior Milan, a Spartan here with the Milan 2 on it. And so my plan here I've brought in a couple Leopard 1s, Sicherungs, and some Jaeger. And what I want to do is I want to push around this side here, and then collapse on the back of the zone. I'm staying quite conservative on this part of the map, and so I'm hoping I can maybe draw him in, and then hit him in the flank. Over on the right hand side, you see I'm still probing with the Jaeger, slowly making more ground. The Fuchs Milan's pushing up as well. And so I'm just assessing the situation for how I can attack Echo as well. Bumped some rifles here. All of these units are pretty depleted, and I don't want my Fliegerfaust in this fight. So I start pulling these guys back, and then I'll let my Jaegers take that. 11 man in a squad. They're going to do quite well against those rifles. And of course I've got these Jaeger coming from the other way as well, so I can ambush them. I'm going to get a couple Panzer Mortars in. And these I've mostly been using for smoke, but they can provide a bit of HE damage and wear and tear over time. See, a Challenger's starting to push forwards here. Right in the open. So obviously I've got vision on this. My Leopard 203 is still just hiding back here. And so again, I've seen this. I'm going to start figuring out my plan for dealing with that unit. And so I'm ready to respond when I need to. My Lux is actually on return fire, so I don't shoot at this rover yet. And I think I spot it in a moment. I'm like, oh no, open fire, take that out. Kill that. I don't know if we do manage to. No, it leaves line of sight. I'm like, no, try to go and hunt it, but I give up. I lost it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Don't worry about it. So I haven't really got anything to smoke yet, so more start opening fire. Just gonna start shooting in this area, wearing the units down a bit. Assault Pioneers are pushing forwards. They're pretty tough to deal with. They've got the shock trait on them, and my units are depleted a bit over here. So I kind of want to draw him out a bit where my fire support can have a bit of an effect. Gazelle Rocket getting overly aggressive, gets picked off by the Fliegerfaust. Challenger gets a mortar round on top of it, so that starts to push forwards here. Artillery is coming in near my CV. I'm holding on for the moment, but this is only a Jeep and it's only got 4 HP, so this is definitely risky for me. This isn't great for me. I'm going to lose this fight if I don't do something to help out there. See a Milan 2 and a Warrior Milan here as I start to push these Sicherungs across. So I'm like, okay, bad situation. Can't push across there just yet. Move my mortars to avoid counter battery, and I've queued up another order so I can help push this engagement back into my favour. Jaeger start pushing over here to engage these armor rifles and all the units there. And I've smoked off here. The reason I've done that is I see all his fire support in the centre. I want to block that off and allow these units to push across into the back. Roving Milan, Warrior Milan start pushing forwards, getting a bit overly aggressive, so the Leopard 203 pushes up to respond. There's a lot of targets here, so I don't want to push up too far forwards. But if I can engage these one by one, I should be able to trade pretty effectively. Now engaging the Chieftain. She takes a shot. Chieftain misses. Leopard 203 gets another shot in, and then I go after the Challenger as well. I smoke instantly after my shot, because I know I've got supply here and he's overextended. So the push is happening. Unfortunately, there's a little gap in my smoke, so I really messed it up, and he's got a ATGM back here. So one of my Leopard 1s goes down. Alpha Jet circles over, trying to help engage some targets, but that gets forced back by the tractor appears. And whilst I'm doing this attack, his attention's on the centre. I've also pushed on the right. I got a bunch of cheap M48s, just charged them forwards, got some Jaegers coming in, got a CV as well. One thing I'm lacking though is AA, and so the Gazelle Rockets and Lynx Hell Arms was a good response, but I've got the looks there, kind of holding them back for the moment. Mortars are opening fire. Challenger's trying to push forwards, but the Leopard 203 is in such a secluded position, there's not much it can do. So my CV gets into the zone up here, so I cap that back zone. I'm just slowly taking these units out. Artillery fire starts coming in on the Leopard 2A3. Just did get healed up a bit by this supply, but then it's stunned, more HPs come off, so I'm pulling back here. And then I'm pushing on this left-hand side as well with these Leopard 1A5s, Shishrings and Jaegers. So they're going to start securing this whole triangle for me. Take out that sniper, deny his recon. Challenger pushes forwards, but the Alpha Clara here got some alright AT. And they start hitting that. It's HP on 1 for the Challenger. One more shot by this Alpha Clara and he will kill that. Gets stunned, taken out, so we don't kill that Challenger. It's in a bad position, and so my Apache is pushed forwards. I've got another Leopard 2A3 charging up. Take out the armoured rifles there. I've got an F4 trying to take out some helis and an Alpha Jet as well because I didn't bring AA. So I'm having to respond like that. Leopard 2A3, bad micro by me, gets side shot by the ATGM in this building. Really causing me issues this game. I should have dealt with it sooner. My Alpha Jet's still circling, trying to take things out. It does kill another tracked Rapier, which is good for me. And then on this right hand side, this town is, well, this area is slowly falling apart for me. Got one chieftain here, just eating all these rounds to the face. And so in a second I'm going to push up, try and get a side shot or something, so I can deal a bit more damage. But I've had to back out the centre with my CV so it doesn't die to Arty. They've got CV in over here, so Doomhammer starts ticking again. You see, this chieftain is just eating these rounds to the face. I've got 3 AT rounds left. This guy misses that one. 1 HP on this lad left. Push up into this building, so I'm looking for the side shots. Another chieftain here, which I couldn't see. This guy in the front's got no AT, but he's eating all the rounds. Other guy finally chops in, gets a side shot on that chieftain. Doesn't do too much, and I'm running away with my CV. I don't want to lose it for no reason, so I'm pulling it back. I'm going to send it over to the side here, and then at some point I might be able to push it back in. Over on this left side, I've gained solid position here, so I'm in control of the triangle, and I'm just using my Alouette to kind of scout out a bit more. Alpha Clara is going to push up, and I'm going to start targeting Alpha next. CV's back into the centre. Points are pretty even, but Doomhammer's got a slight advantage. Putting all my infantry back here to get them resupplied. And then you can see I've started to build up my 2A3s. So I've got 2 here. I should have some more on the way at some point. And I'm going to build a good solid network in the centre, where he seems to be massing his tanks. Apache takes around there. So these buildings, really strong position. I should have taken them out way sooner. Maybe with some bombs or like some bigger RT pieces or something. But Alouette goes down. My Alouette on this left hand side went down as well to the manpad in this building. And here you see, I've got my big force trying to push up. So these guys are all going to be charging forwards. And at this point I was a bit fed up with the artillery. So I'm tasking my Apache to push around the flank and take that out. Now as these guys are pushing up, you see I get engaged by a Roving Milan and a Chieftain Mark 11. So my opponent was ready for me. In the centre, my M48 is getting taken out by a Carl Gustav and a Chieftain Mark 11. Jaeger's going down as well, overextending a bit. Fuchs Milan engaging this P4 Milan. Managed to take it out. It's a good kill for us. Pioneer Flames get engaged by the Chieftain Mark 11, but my 1A5s are pushing on the flank, and they're going to try and take that out. Mortars just providing some fire support. So here we go, I'm charging these guys up. I want to try and get a side shot, but the woods here are really annoying, kind of blocking that vision. So I just go for the direct attack. Hopefully those ATGMs will keep it facing the front, so I can get a nice side shot and take it out. There you go, Leopard 1A5 gets a beautiful shot, down to 1 HP. There's HGMs opening up here though. Chieftain goes down. Leopard 1A5 goes down to the Milan 2, I believe, either from the Spartan or the actual team. So I lose those, but One of his chieftains dead, which is good for me. In the centre, I'm kind of just holding for the moment. Going to keep wearing them down with the Panzer Morsers. But I've still got this Leopard 2A3 in the centre here. And I've also got one on this left flank. And what this does is, if he pushes any tanks forwards or any vehicles, infantry, anything, this will be able to get side shots. And it's in a very protected position as well. Now back to the attack on the left. He's got a pretty heavily built up defensive position here. And so I actually decided to keep the Pioneer Flames going forwards, keep their attention on them, and then push around the flanks with the Sicherungs and Jaeger, and then push around the left with these two Jaeger units. And I'm kind of going to cut in behind and just cut off the front of this zone. My Apache's waiting until I can push around the flank because I know there's a Javelin here. So I'm just going to keep this back here for the moment until I can take that out, and then I'll push forwards. Forces just setting themselves up on the edge of the woods here again. I've moved my CV over to this part. It's a bit more exposed, but it's avoiding all the artillery fire in this zone, so it's a much better position for me, at least for the moment. A couple more 1A5s coming in to support the attack on Alpha. Another 2A3 coming into the centre, just to make sure I can lock that down. And we've finally got some Marder 1A3s coming up as well. I buy a Tornado MW1. You don't see it used very often, but it can be very handy for particular situations. And one of those is a heavily defended front of a town. So, here it comes. And I know there's a ton of infantry in here, so it's a perfect situation for this. I know there's only like one Javelin over here. So, get this guy in. And I know for a fact that everything in these buildings here is dead. Pull it off to the left to avoid any AA in the centre. Evacs out perfectly fine. Jaeger's going to push in to deal with that Javelin, which will then activate my Apache to go around the flank. We see the response. Gazelle rockets charging over. I've got an F4 coming in, and this guy is actually going to strafe the Javelin. I really want to take it out, so I managed to get one kill there. Pulls off to the left, and then evacs. But these Gazelle rockets are going to target my Jaeger, take those guys out. Really unfortunate for me. Tornado F3 comes in, going after the F4F. The F4F's far enough away, it's going to make it out. I do grab another one, because I'm like, yep, I want to kill that as well. But it evacs my F4 on the first shot. That's like brutal. I managed to evac the F3 with a shot from the F4, so nice work there. But he, whilst evacing, manages to hit my Apache. So this is now down to 2 HP. Really not good for me, but it's still going. It's going on its flanking maneuver. And you see my 1A5s in a nice solid flanking position now. There are 80 GMs coming out at them. So I believe I'm going to lose this one. Oh no, misses. So a rocket opening up on it. Doesn't do too much. Fliegerfaust now pushing forwards. Marder 103 is coming in. Get the smoke off there.
Enemy at 3 o'clock high.
Alpha Clara pushing up into the centre. Just to get us some better vision again. And you can see my two Leopard 2A3s. One on this right flank shooting in. One on this left flank shooting in. And then one in the centre shooting out. So I can get multiple angles of engagement. Getting bogged down in the town, but I've got a solid position and I know there's not much left over here. So I start pushing the tanks up around the side. The Apache flies over here. I know where the arty is, it's just in this area here. It does fly over this chieftain and it takes some MG damage, goes down to 1 HP. In the centre, Challenger's pushing forwards, but I get a really nice shot off this Leopard 2A3. Warrior Milan goes down to this Leopard 2A3. Challenger gets hit again by the Leopard. This Leopard 2A3 opens up on it as well, and the Challenger goes down. Apache down to 1 HP, manages to take out both the artillery pieces. So massive trade up for me there. Finally got some more units pushing into the town. There's a few units still alive on the edge of the zone here, but I've got fire support over on the right hand side and some Sicherungs pushing up, so I should be fine dealing with that. Few Jaeger, I'm going to win this fight just due to the numbers. Apache finally goes down. More infantry pushing into the centre, just to keep an and hold the zone and keep that grind going. I don't mind this being grindy in a stalemate, because I'm winning on this left flank. Got the Apache coming up, so I know he's got no AA over here at the moment. There will be some coming, and so I'm trying to think how I'm going to deal with that and how I'm going to utilise the Apache. So I start moving forwards to help engage all these units here. Alpha is going to push around the flank, so I get some good vision. Sistering's just going to clean this up. Leopard 105 still providing that fire support really nicely. And then I decide to head over to here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move here, and I'm going to drop my altitude, so I can avoid getting shot by AA, but I can still provide the fire support. Got another MW1 coming in. Unfortunately, Tornado F3 comes in, dives my Apache, goes down to like 1 HP, survives, luckily. Roland 3 does get a shot off. I've got another F4 coming in to try and deal with that, but the Tornado F3 is way faster. That's going to get away. Tornado MW1 coming in. I'm slowly losing this fight now. I'm getting outnumbered. There's more units pushing forwards. So, MW1's on the way. Again, perfect for these town engagements. Unfortunately, they take ages to reload, so I've invested in another one so I can just do this. And again, all the infantry here completely cleared out. Swing it back over. I tried to swing it to the left and evac, but it went over to the right, which is unfortunate because now it's going to fly over all of the AA in the centre. And 1 tracked rapier, 2 tracked rapier, down the MW1 goes. So that was annoying, but it is what it is. See the Chieftain getting ambushed by the 1A5 and the CV getting ambushed by the Jaeger. Jaeger 180 left goes down, 1A5 and the Chieftain Mark 11 trade. So very big for me there. Finally my CV's coming in. I was a bit late on that. Got some more Pioneers. The Apache's having some supplies brought to it. And we'll be pretty much set on that top zone. More Jaegers coming into the centre as I start to probe forwards once again. And I want to keep this pressure up. Over on the right hand side I've got a Leopard 2A4 in, just for fun, and so I can lock down if he tries to get desperate on the right. CV's still sitting around, ready to go in and push into Echo if I need it to. Just clearing out the last few forces here. And then I start to redirect this CV, and I wanted to push up to Bravo, just to keep the pressure going and ticking up. And so I moved it up. I'm going to set it in these woods, and then I'm going to bring out a Lux to push up and scout ahead for me. Brought in a Mars to hit the woods over here, and so I can really put some pressure on his units. I see all of these like Milans, Spartans, Chieftains and Challengers, and these guys are going to cause real issues for all my units trying to push on the flanks. And so I'm going to get, in a moment, my Panzer Morsers are going to smoke off these 2 areas. So I'm going to smoke off all of his fire support and allow my units just to engage without dealing with these. You can see it's a good job over here that I pushed my CV off to the flank because there's a Challenger Mark II coming. I have to divert this Leopard 2A3 to go and deal with that. Recon over on this left side, you can see, getting good vision on everything that's coming in. Smoke's finally coming in, so that's going to delay his attack in the centre. And I can allow this 2A3 to go after the Challenger. Now this Challenger is at 1 vet, which is really bad. My Leopard 2A3 gets a beautiful side shot. Cohesion goes way down. I get it on a move forward instead because it's got a perfect stabilizer accuracy. And you can see I've gotten 2 shots off already. 3 now. He only got 1 shot off, and that's 1 death. That's what happens with Challengers. They've got a slow rate of fire anyway, and so if you get their cohesion down, they're really going to suffer. He pushes through the smoke in the center with the Challengers and Warriors, and this is great for me. I'm like, perfect. My unit's going to push in on the flank, get side shots of AT. I'm going to push my Leopard 2A3s up to engage from the front, and it's going to be the perfect engagement for me, really. 2A3 and Chieftain. 2A3 is easily going to win that. This Chieftain gets whacked as well. 1 Chieftain goes down. This 2A3 starts engaging the Challenger Mark II now. This 2A3 gets hit very badly, but then the Jaeger come in, take out the Challenger Mark II. Another Chieftain getting hit by Jaeger and then Leopard 2A3. That Chieftain goes down, and then he surrenders. And so 2,000 over in terms of like kills to losses there. Doomhammer, not a bad player, sitting at 120 on the leaderboard. But you can see 2A3s can be very powerful if you set your engagements correctly with them. I mean, look at the points value we got here. Taking out what? 1, 2, 3 Challenger Mark 11s, the Challenger Mark 2, Warrior Milans, and infantry as well. And that was all because we kept it conservative, engaged it when we needed it, and kept it safe when we didn't. And you can see the value I'm getting out of other units as well, like this Leopard 1. The Apache was doing really well. Tornado MW1s didn't actually kill too much, which is unfortunate, but it did unlock positions I needed it to, so I don't mind that at all. You can kind of have a look through here. The Milan 2 in the centre was in a great spot, taking out my 203 as well. And so he didn't do too badly, but I think the tank misplays were the big issue for sure. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.